So we all know that the interest rates have caused the real estate market to dramatically change. So what does that mean, and what's happened in the last 7 days? Let's watch to find out. So my name is Sean Price. I am with the Price and Price Group here at eXp Realty, and this is our weekly Price and Price report. As you're probably aware, we did not do a report last week. I apologize for that. We were pretty crazy busy. But I want to go ahead and give you the pulse of the market and give you what this report means to both buyers and sellers, and then we'll get into the details and the numbers. So, from a buyer perspective, we have seen a dramatic increase in buyer activity this past 10 days or so. We've received a lot more phone calls from buyers. We've been out showing a lot more properties. We've seen a lot of properties that were sitting on the market that have all of a sudden started going off the market. For example, on Saturday we had 9 showings scheduled, and before we could get out there and see those showings, 2 of them went off the market. We had another property that I was scheduled to do a video tour. This property had been on the market for 200 days. It is now off the market. So we're starting to see an uptick in buyer activity. That's the pulse of the market. You're going to see that the graph shows a little bit of a difference. So I'm going to kind of go through that with you and explain what I think is going on there. From a seller's perspective, so sellers, market properties that are intelligently priced are going really quickly. They're getting multiple offers, especially in the last 7 days. Again, if you're putting the property on the market, just any condition, not prepping it, and just throwing up there and thinking you're going to get top dollar, this is not that market any longer. But if you take care, pay attention to the details, you prep the market appropriately, and you price it appropriately, you will sell it very quickly. So it's a great time to sell for sellers because there's not much inventory out there. And from a buyer's perspective, it's still a good time to buy because honestly, there aren't a lot of buyers out there. So the buyers that are out there are serious, but the competition is dramatically lower. When I say multiple offers, I'm talking 2 or 3 offers versus 10, 15, 20 like we were seeing in the past. We are seeing for buyers that are willing to look at properties that maybe aren't in the best condition and maybe weren't prepped appropriately or maybe were overpriced and have been sitting on the market for a little while. Those buyers are having some opportunities. They're getting in there and able to get some discounts because these sellers are now having to lower their prices. So our prices in general coming down. We're not seeing a dramatic decrease in property values. We are seeing decreases in listing prices and sales prices as compared to listing prices because the properties are still being priced too high. So we're seeing properties that are being priced 10% above market like they were 6 months, 8 months ago, and then they're having to come down that 8 to 10% to actually get to market value before they sell. Now here's a little nuance that may not be very, very clear. If you have a property that sold for $500,000 and it was in great condition, okay, and it sold for $500,000, well, 6 months ago that property would have sold multiple offers, and the next property would come on at 550. Well, here's what might have happened: the next property coming on at 550, if it was in great condition, would get multiple offers and so on. But let's say that property came on and it wasn't in great condition, they would still come in at 525 and they would still get it and probably get multiple offers. So that's the mistake that a lot of sellers are making right now, is they're thinking that they can still put their property on the market even if it's not in great condition or updated or anything like that. They can still put it a little bit above asking price and try to get that asking price. And what they're finding is they're having to negotiate that down to market value. That $500,000 property that was pristine, and then somebody puts a 525 property on the market that is not in pristine condition, this 525 property is only worth maybe 475 because it doesn't have the updates and everything. So it's going down to that 475. So that's where the perception of property values potentially dropping is happening, because the properties are actually going down to their market value, their current market value. Now, will that market value decrease over time? Only time will tell, but right now we're not seeing a significant decrease in property value. Now, in the next week or two, I will be doing my what month are we in? November, my October market report. I do expect to see the median house price come down in that market report, and that's simply because the median house price measures the prices of the houses that we're selling. And if you had a person who was able to, or a buyer that was able to afford a $1 million property 6 months ago, and now they can only afford an $850,000 property because of the increased interest rates, then of course that median house price is going to come down. So we'll see if the median house price is coming down. Does that translate into home values decreasing through October, or does that just indicate that people are buying less expensive houses? We'll determine all that as we look through the numbers. But for now, buyer activity has picked up. Buyers, there's still an opportunity. You will face a little competition on the new good condition properties, but there are plenty of properties that are sitting because they're not in great condition or they're overpriced. So there's an opportunity for buyers to get a discount. Always remember, you marry the property, but you date the interest rate. So right now, everybody's waiting for the perfect scenario. I've got a lot of buyers sitting on the sideline that are saying, we're going to wait for interest rates to come down. Well, when interest rate comes down, all these buyers are going to flood the market again. So prices are going to go back right into that escalation situation. So now's the time to buy a property without all that competition. You might have a little bit of a higher interest rate, but then you can refinance when the rates come down and you've locked in a property at a good price. So buyers, I see this as an opportunity. I see this as an opportunity to take advantage of it. Sellers, there's not a lot of inventory, so let's get your properties prepped appropriately. Let's get them on the market. Let's get them and capture that appreciation that's happened over the last several years. Okay, so the market has changed. The dust is starting to settle, and the buyers are starting to come out of the woodworks, as we've seen over the last 7 to 10 days. So let's get to the charts and let me show you what's going on there. Okay. So now here's where the actual chart itself doesn't match what the pulse of the market has been. So let me see if I can get my highlighter here. Okay. Bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to this technology. I'm going to use a pen. And we're going to go through it. Okay. So buyer activity is down 24% over the last 7 days. So you'll see that's right here. This is the orange line. So buyer activity dropped 7% or 24% in the last 7 days. You can see the previous 7 days, which I did not do a market report during that time, it was up. Okay. So inventory, you'll see, is up 21%. This is inventory. Okay. So what that's done is that's created this gap right here. So this gap is what gives us a buyer's market. When you go over here, you'll see that's why we're in a down buyer's market. Now, the previous week, I'm going to go ahead, bear with me, erase, let's see, erase all ink. The previous week, buyer activity was up and inventory was down. So you see we came really close right here. So that's where we almost got back to a neutral market. So the key to notice is this. You have the overall activity of the market has kind of stabilized in this area versus here where it was coming down. So this is what I say when I mean that the dust has settled. Everybody was coming down because they were freaking out about the interest rates, and then now the dust seems to have settled, so we've kind of stabilized in this area. So same thing over here. You'll see that in this area we had a significant downtrend because of the interest rates going up and everybody freaking out. We stabilized here for a little while, and then we had another downtick when the interest rates went up again, and now we've stabilized here. So we are now in the fall, so we usually have a downtick in the fall anyway. You can see that that this could be a fall pattern. It could be due to interest rates, could be a combination. So what's going to happen here in the future? I think we're going to stay in this pattern for another at least month and a half or so. I think when we hit January, February, March, I think we're going to see everything start to go back into an uptick, an uptrend, and we're going to see this activity going up as well. Now, I don't think it's going to get back over to these levels, but I do think it's going to get back up into this area here, which is going to mean more competition for buyers and so on. So that's why I feel like there's a little bit of an opportunity here for buyers right now. So timing the market is always kind of a dangerous proposition because we don't know what's going to happen. But real estate is a very safe investment. If you buy and you hold it long enough, you will get a return on your investment. So let's talk about what your goals are. Let's talk about what your intentions are. If you're looking to pick up some investment properties, it's a great time. Not only are there properties that are sitting that you might be able to get a little bit of a discount on, but there are also sellers offering seller financing. So this is a phenomenal opportunity for that. So buyers, get in touch with me either for an investment property or for a personal resident. Let's talk about your goals. Let's look at, is this a good time for you? Let's figure out the best way for you to move forward. Sellers, same thing. Let's get together. Let's talk. Inventory is still really, really low. There's very little competition, and there are buyers that are out there. Okay, reach out to me. Happy to help you. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this video, and we will see you on next week's video. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, have a great week, and we'll see you next week.